In a town where no wedding ever goes according to plan, Port Charles is once again the backdrop for an emotional maelstrom. As General Hospital careens toward another milestone event, the upcoming nuptials of Drew and Willow are anything but a celebration of love. Beneath the surface of this polished romance lies a psychological time bomb, set to detonate just moments before Willow walks down the aisle. What's intended to be a union of commitment may become a horrifying descent into instability, betrayal, and a terrifying question of identity. All eyes are on Willow, but not for the reasons she imagined when she first agreed to marry the Aurora Media CEO. In the week of July 21st to 25th, Curtis bursts into Willow's bridal suite with the kind of urgency usually reserved for disasters. He has come bearing a truth that threatens to topple the fragile tower Willow has constructed to shield herself from recent grief and emotional ruin. Curtis, having learned of Drew's secret romantic entanglement with Nina, decides that Willow deserves the truth before vowing to a man who has once again proven incapable of fidelity. But this revelation is not simply about infidelity, it's about cracking open the mask that Willow has worn since the devastating loss of her children. It's about confronting the version of herself she has become, and the terrifying fragments of personality waiting beneath. Curtis's decision to come forward with the truth is not without risk. He's intervening on the biggest day of Willow's life, knowing full well that her mental state has been precarious ever since she lost custody of Wiley and Amelia. The court's decision to grant Michael full custody devastated her, but it was Willow's reaction. Withdrawal, obsession, and an eventual hospitalization that alarmed everyone closest to her. The once stable nurse with an unwavering moral compass has slowly unraveled, but she has done so in plain sight, disguising madness behind gentleness, smiling when she should be weeping, and speaking of reunification while enacting vengeance. Even before Curtis's interruption, warning signs had begun to manifest in disturbing ways. After her hospitalization, Willow's behavior took a darker turn. Her fixation on Sasha's newborn, Daisy, grew more aggressive and erratic. She didn't just envy Sasha, she saw Daisy as a replacement, a prize she'd been denied. What started as subtle interference soon escalated to obsessive surveillance. Sasha, feeling the walls closing in, made the painful decision to flee Port Charles for her daughter's safety. But the most chilling detail came when Liesl observed Willow's reaction to the news of their departure. There, on Willow's lips, was a smile. Soft, unnatural, and unmistakably pleased. It was the kind of smile that only made sense if something else, or someone else, was behind it. Curtis might not understand everything that's happening with Willow, but he recognizes a person on the brink. His goal is not only to expose Drew's betrayal but to pierce the veil that has clouded Willow's perception. However, his timing may be catastrophic. Rather than grounding Willow in reality, Curtis's admission might shatter it entirely. Willow's reaction is not fury or heartbreak, but detachment. She listens, blankly, then accuses him of fabrication. Her denial is swift and definitive, as if the truth was never welcome, even if she suspected it all along. She thanks him with a hollow smile and insists the ceremony must go on. To outsiders, this might seem like resilience, but those who know Willow sense something more disturbing. This isn't a woman standing firm against adversity, it's someone who is split from her own truth. The idea that Willow might be suffering from dissociative identity disorder begins to swirl among those who have witnessed her emotional spirals, her sudden mood swings, and the eerie absence of empathy that has replaced the nurturing presence they once knew. For Liesl, who has seen madness dressed in the costume of sanity before, the signs are too familiar to ignore. She quietly begins to investigate on her own, wondering whether the woman Drew is marrying is even the same Willow who once clung so tightly to her sense of right and wrong. It's not difficult to see why Drew might miss the warning signs. After all, he is no stranger to denial himself. His affair with Nina, while buried beneath layers of secrecy, was less about passion and more about power. Nina, having lost so much, her daughter, her marriage, her sense of place in the Corinthos orbit, found in Drew a man eager to rebuild himself, someone who offered validation and escape. Their relationship wasn't love, it was leverage. And now, Drew clings to Willow, convinced that this marriage will repair his image and restore the family he wants to believe he deserves. But love built on lies only attracts ghosts, and Drew is beginning to feel them circling. There's another layer to Willow's insistence on proceeding with the wedding: desperation. She believes that marrying Drew could strengthen her custody case. In her mind, forming a stable household with a respectable public figure could tip the scales in her favor. But this logic ignores the reality of her spiraling mental health and the moral compromises she has made along the way. If anything, this marriage is a bargaining chip in a game where the rules have long since ceased to matter. Whether she loves Drew is irrelevant. What matters is winning, no matter the cost. As the ceremony begins, guests take their seats, unaware that the woman in white might not be Willow at all, at least not the one they think they know. Her voice is calm, her step steady, but her eyes flicker with something foreign. Perhaps it's one of the personalities hidden beneath the surface, one born from loss, another from rage, and still another who smiles when mothers flee in fear. She takes Drew's hand and utters the words with chilling precision, "I do." And just like that, the facade is sealed. But the question remains, who, exactly, made that vow? General Hospital is not just teasing chaos, it's building a psychological reckoning. As the story unfolds, fans will be drawn deeper into Willow's fractured mind and Drew's misplaced faith. Curtis, now burdened with a truth that changed nothing, becomes the reluctant guardian of a secret no one else wants to admit. And Liesel, ever watchful, knows that something dark has taken root in Willow's soul, and it will not stay buried for long. In a town where resurrections are common but redemption is rare, this wedding could mark the beginning of a dangerous new chapter. Not all unions in Port Charles are forged in love, some are stitched together with delusion, betrayal, and the crumbling shards of sanity. The road ahead promises heartbreak, exposure, and possibly even violence, as the consequences of silence and denial take shape. Willow may have said "I do," but Port Charles has learned the hard way that nothing is ever that simple. Not when the woman in the veil might be smiling for all the wrong reasons. Not when truth knocks and no one dares answer. Not when the past refuses to stay buried, and the mind itself begins to rebel. For viewers, the wedding of Willow and Drew isn't just a turning point, it's the opening of a new and terrifying mystery that will haunt every corner of General Hospital.